Today we have Dr. Abhaya Asthana at our World Hindu News Hindu Talk Show, and it's a pleasure to have Dr. Abhaya Asthana ji. He is President of Vishwa Hindu Parishad of America, World Hindu Council of America, also known as VHPA. Dr. Abhaya Asthana ji, please, you're most welcome to the Hindu Talk Show.
Thank you.
Let me introduce Dr. Abhaya Asthana ji to our worldwide audience. Dr. Abhaya Asthana is a Bell Lab Fellow with Corporate Chief Technology Officer at Alcatel-Lucent. He directs research and development in the areas of computer and communication systems and solutions, multimedia, wireless systems, converged network systems, computer architecture, operating systems, optical networks, and VLSI design. He led the design of VLSI systems at Intel from 1982 till 1985 and was on the faculty of IIT Kanpur in 1984. Dr. Asthana received his bachelor's degree in electrical engineering from IIT Kanpur in 1970 and his doctorate degree from Tulane University in 1974. Learning about Hindu Dharma, history and cultural tradition, living it and passing it on to the next generation is his passion. He has been active in community service at the local and national level. His main focus has been in promoting educational and spiritual programs and projects that will help Hindus living in North America to remain Hindus and through their life contribute to the richness of their adopted land. Organizing youth camp, Bal Vihar, youth conferences, Dharma Sansad, Hindu awareness yatras, Hindu Mandir executive conferences, Hindu Heritage Days, Hindu Seva Day are some examples of what he has been actively doing for the past 28 years. He is the president of Vishwa Hindu Parishad of America. Please, we have you welcome here, Dr. Abhaya Asthana ji. It's a privilege to have you at World Hindu News Hindu Talk Show.
Well, Rahul, thank you for this opportunity, and it's my pleasure.
Thanks. So, let me start with every organization has its philosophy. What is the philosophy of Vishwa Hindu Parishad of America?
Okay. So, it's, first of all, it's rooted in karma.
Right.
So, we are sitting over here in our kitchen and we are working and at the same time talking to you. Right?
Yes.
So, one of my most cherished accomplishment is to be an instrument of service to our community through this remarkable medium of Vishwa Hindu Parishad of America.
Right.
So at least me and my family, we feel very fortunate to be a part of this institution and this movement, which has brought meaning to our lives and has taught us how to live selflessly.
Right.
So the philosophy of Vishwa Hindu Parishad of America is really captured in four things, in four statements, and we all know about these four statements. Okay, one is that truth is one, and sages call it by different names.
Right.
So it brings this whole notion of unity and oneness of human existence.
Right.
And then the second dictum is the whole world that we see. It's the first verse of the Ishavasya Upanishad, right?
Right.
Ishavasyam idam sarvam.
Yes.
Yat kinchit jagatyam jagat. So this has been one of the fundamental guiding principles for Vishwa Hindu Parishad of America, that this whole universe is nothing but Brahman.
Yes.
And as a result of that, many things follow, right? As a result of that, it follows that we are all interconnected.
Yes.
We are all interdependent.
Yes.
Right? That we are all one family.
Yes.
Right? So the whole concept of Vasudeva Kutumbakam arises from that. So that's the third principle. And the fourth one is Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashantu. Let everybody be happy. We never say, let me be happy, let my family be happy. Let the whole world, every creature in this universe that we see or do not see, let them all be happy. So these are the principles on which our vision and our mission is based. Right? to
Yes.
create a dynamic, vibrant Hindu society, and based on these principles that are rooted in the philosophies of our sages.
Right.
So that's where we are coming from.
That's very
Now,
foresighted
Yeah,
principles.
but going a little bit beyond that,
Yes.
so so it says our name is Vish Hindu Parishad
Yes.
of America.
Yes.
So there is this word Hindu.
Yes.
So the word Hindu for us is not what it's typically made out to be, right?
Yes.
The word Hindu for us is a civilizational term, okay? So it refers to our Sanskriti, our
Right.
civilization, right?
Yes.
That has its geographical
Yes.
presence in that land of Bharat,
Yes.
right? So when we talk about Hindu Sanskriti, when we talk about Hindu civilization, under that all thoughts,
Yes.
all philosophies that have their root in Bharatvarsh,
Yes.
they all belong to us. So we talk about Vaishnavas, we talk about Shaivas, we
Yes.
talk about Smaratas, we talk about Shaktas,
Yes.
Bauddhas, Jainas, Sikhs,
Right.
all of them, they are all ours. So when we talk about the word Hindu, it encompasses all of them. Right?
Yes.
And anyone else outside of Bharat, non-Indian Hindus, okay, who subscribe to the same philosophy, they are all part of this term Hindu. It's a civilizational term.
Yes.
It's a cultural term, right?
Okay.
It has nothing to do with any narrow,
Okay.
concept.
Okay.
Right?
Thanks, Dr. Asthana ji. My next question is: you have been president. You have been with VHPA since past 3 decades, 30 years or more. What is your overall assessment of the organization mission in uniting Hindu community in USA? On a rank of 1 to 10, parameter 10 being the highest, where we have reached at this current time?
Okay. So, Vish Hindu Parishad of America was conceived and founded around 1970. Okay. It probably was established a few years later in New York as a non-profit organization, but it was founded around 1970.
Right.
And its primary objectives are to educate our next generation about the human values
Yes.
that we have envisaged, as we described earlier,
Yes.
right, by our sages, to provide a forum that looks out for and addresses the needs and the interests of the Hindus in United States,
Right.
and to help minimize the misconception and misinformation about Hinduism,
Right.
and to provide humanitarian relief and service,
Okay.
regardless of race, religion, color, creed, place,
Right.
or any other differences.
Okay.
Okay, so this is like the four-pronged mission that we have. Basically, in Sanskrit, it would be sansakar, it would be prachar,
Prachar.
it would be sampark,
Sampark,
and
yeah.
it would be seva.
Okay.
Right.
Next is many Hindus in USA sometimes have a perception that seva, social service, can only be done in India, and there is less scope for service for dharma in USA. How far this perception is valid, and can you please give insights into how, why, and where Hindus in USA can perform service to dharma, and why USA has ample of opportunities to serve Hindu dharma?
So it's a very good question. So first of all, the work of Vish Hindu Parishad of America, the field of action, or as we say, Karyakshetra, is America. Okay? And there is plenty of work to be done in America, right? We serve our children, we serve our families, we serve our dharma gurus
Right.
and dharmic institutions, we serve our community,
Yes.
we serve our environment,
Okay.
we serve our elders.
Okay.
Right? So that is the scope of work that we have to do. Okay, it's providing service to various segments of our society and at various levels. Right? So there is a lot of work to be done right here in this country. Right?
Yeah.
There is no end to the outreach that we can provide. Right?
Right.
And the work that we do, the seva that we do, doesn't have to be limited to the Hindu community, right?
Right.
We live in this land, we have adopted this land,
Right.
as our home. So our duty, our dharma, Hindu dharma tells us
Right.
that we have to serve this land, right? And
Yes.
the people of this land.
Yes.
So there is plenty of scope, right? To go and serve in the cities, to go and serve in the hospitals, to go and serve in nursing homes, to go and serve the homeless in soup kitchens. And
Yes.
we all do that. We all
Yes.
do that, right? So even in our community, in the Hindu community today,
Yes.
there may be over 400,000 people who are 65 and older.
Yes.
So when you go and visit some of the nursing homes and some of the hospitals,
Yes.
you will be surprised to see that the population of Hindu elders is growing in those places, right?
Okay.
So if you're looking for opportunities to serve
Yes.
within our community, outside our community, there's plenty of opportunity.
Okay. Thanks for this update. Some examples where we see VHPA as a Hindu social organization that has played key role in serving the Hindu community at the time of crisis in USA, and specifically VHPA could fulfill that requirement of time.
Yeah.
Some
So
examples.
you want some examples? Sure. So for example, we've when say Katrina hit, right?
Yes.
I'll give you a simple example. So when it hit, so our volunteers, okay, Gaurang Bhai Vaishnav, right? He rented a huge van,
Right.
Filled it up, loaded it up with all the food supplies, okay, all
Right.
kinds of other supplies. All bunch of volunteers from around that area in New York, New Jersey area. They went with him. They drove down all the way to Louisiana,
Yes.
and they opened up this mobile, okay, help center
Yes.
to serve the community. And I think they stayed there for like several weeks,
Right.
okay, until the thing was over. When Sandy occurred, people in Staten Island, right? I mean, they needed help. So the VHPA volunteers, they rallied around it to do that. When Uttarakhand disaster happened last year
Right.
in India, when we rallied, we did that. When the Gujarat earthquake struck, right, in 2001, was it? Or 2000, right?
Yeah.
When it happened. So we actually rallied, I mean the community rallied around
Right.
it. We raised, I think, $500,000, and we used that to rebuild an entire village of Bhuj
Right.
in Gujarat, right? With homes, with a temple, with a hospital, with everything.
Yes.
Okay, combined. When the tsunami struck
Yes.
on the coast,
In the
eastern
eastern
coast
coast,
of India, right? We again, I mean, rallied the people, and we provided boats
Right.
to the fishermen of like several villages, right? So they could get back to their living.
Yes.
So I mean, these are like simple examples. I mean, we keep doing this all the time on a continual basis. For example, we serve in the soup kitchens
Yes.
on a monthly basis. We provide blankets
Right.
to the homeless during the winter. We go and serve in the highways through the Adopt the Highway program. We do service in nursing homes,
Yes.
homes for the elders, okay, all kinds of things like that. So we like it's a continuous thing, and whenever disaster happens, I mean you get like large support from the community as a whole.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why Hindu social organizations like VHPA are important for American Hindus, and how the work we do at VHPA differ from other social dharmic cultural organization? What makes VHPA distinct when it comes to Hindu social organization?
So that's a really good question. Okay, what makes Vishwa Hindu Parishad of America unique?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you what makes me stick to
Yes.
this organization, and I mean has made me like a part of this organization for the last 30 years almost.
Yes.
Right? There is only one organization that I have seen in my years of service, right, that talks about Hindu. It talks about Hindu cutting across all sampradayas, cutting across everything. So you may be a Gujarati, you may be a Marathi, you may be a Tamil person, Telugu person, Malayali, Punjabi, whatever, you are a Hindu.
Yes.
And this is the only organization that sees everybody as a Hindu. So 1.2 billion people across the earth that are Hindus, they are all one.
Yes.
And this is the organization that speaks for them, that stands for them. Right?
Yes.
We don't have a Swami.
Yes.
Okay. We don't have a temple.
Okay.
Okay. Because all temples are ours.
Yes.
All Gurudwaras are ours.
Okay.
Right. All Bauddha Vihars are ours.
Okay.
Right? All Swamis. Okay.
Okay.
All sons. Okay. Across all sampradayas, they are all ours. And this is the only organization that talks like that and actually believes in that. Right. So that is what makes it so dear. And that is what makes Vishwa Hindu Parishad so distinct from anybody else, because it doesn't serve a narrow sect.
Okay.
It serves everybody, all Hindus, regardless of which sampradaya they belong to, which panth they belong to, which Swami or which Guru they talk about. Vishwa Hindu Parishad is there for them.
Got it.
Right?
Thanks, Abhaya.
Whenever something happens, it's the Vishwa Hindu Parishad that will stand up for you, that will fight for you.
Yes.
Right? That is ready to lay down its life for you, right?
Yes.
There are a lot of other organizations that will do many other things, but we are there.
Yes.
Okay.
Many people correlate VHPA with VHP Bharat. Can you shed more light on the operation, architect, institution, and VHPA and philosophical relationship with VHP Bharat?
Yeah. So, Vishwa Hindu Parishad of Bharat, right? So that was actually inaugurated in 1964, and it was, I believe, at Sandipani Ashram. And Swami Chinmayanand, Puji Swami Chinmayanand,
Yes.
was the founder, right, of Vishwa Hindu Parishad
Yes.
in India, and he brought all of these people together from various different sampradayas, right?
Yes.
And different walks of life. They
Yes.
all came together. Swami Dayanand Saraswati from Vishwavidya Gurukulam, he was the one who wrote the architecture and the constitution
Yes.
of Vishwa Hindu Parishad. So that Vishwa Hindu Parishad of India, right? I mean, it had its own mission
Yes.
and own vision as to why it was formed, and it's doing wonderful, right?
Yes.
In India. Now, Vishwa Hindu Parishad of America was founded in 1970, and it is a distinct organization,
Okay.
nothing to do with Vishwa Hindu Parishad of India
Yes.
legally.
Okay.
Right? And so it has its own governing body, it has its own executive board, it has its own constitution.
Okay.
It's totally independent.
Okay.
It's a registered body, non-profit, 501c3,
Yes.
right here in the United States. Okay.
Okay.
No relationship with Vishwa Hindu Parishad of Bharat. Right?
Bharat. Okay.
But having said that, right, we have the same name, right?
Yes.
Because there is this word Hindu in it. Right?
Okay.
So Vishwa Hindu Parishad of Bharat works for the cause of Hindu, right?
Right.
And we work for the cause of Hindu,
Yes.
and our Karyakshetra is America.
Okay.
So we work for the Hindus over here, right? We subscribe to the philosophy of our sages,
Right.
and all the philosophy that we talked about earlier, right?
Yes.
So we subscribe to that philosophy. Vishwa Hindu Parishad of India subscribes to that same philosophy, and
Yes.
it's a beautiful philosophy.
Yes.
And we share those basic, principles.
Yes.
Both of us share those basic principles, and I'm very proud of sharing those basic principles
Yes.
because they are so fundamental. So we do that, right? But yet operationally we are two distinct entities.
Yes.
Right? So people should be cognizant of that.
VHPA has been instrumental in serving Hindu society in USA since last 4 decades. Many volunteers have spent their entire life in selfless service.
Mhm.
Hindu community, how is Hindu community responding in support to VHPA?
The Hindu community is responding very nicely, very positively.
Okay.
And whoever I have come in touch with, I have never heard them say anything but, you guys do such wonderful work, and you guys, work in a selfless manner and have no expectations from anybody. And what more could you ask for? I'll give you an example, okay, as to how I got into it, right? So whenever in history, right? So what sets apart those people who not just survive, right?
Yes.
But turn every adverse moment into a defining point in history, right?
Yes.
What distinguishes those who prevail when the world goes out of control, right?
Yes.
And the answer lies in the value system, right? That governs the action of such people, right?
Yes.
And that is what Vishnu Parishad is all about, right? It's the value system on which this organization is based,
Yes.
right? And the governing principles of this organization, it's been there for like almost 40 years,
Yes.
more than 40 years, right? And I have never seen any organization in my life, right, where you still have that feeling of a family, right?
Yes.
You work cooperatively, right? You
Yes.
have respect for each other.
Yes.
There is no like board meeting where you have to get a policeman, okay,
Yes.
standing outside,
Yes.
so you can conduct the board meeting. Nothing like that, right?
Yes.
So when to give you an example, right? What attracted me, right? Why is this thing so special?
Yes.
So when I first came, my father actually was visiting in 1989. Okay, he was visiting. So he said, "Oh, let me take you." Before that, I knew about Vishnu Parishad,
Right.
because I was in India with my father, and he was very involved in it.
Yes.
So in 1984, since then I've been familiar with VHP,
Okay.
but I was not involved with VHPA.
Yes.
So he took me to this VHPA camp.
Okay.
So in that camp, I saw people working in the kitchen, like with these big pots and pans, okay,
Yes.
cooking food, cleaning those things, cleaning the toilet, doing all of those kinds of things for hundreds of children, right?
Yes.
And parents. And I said, hey, people actually do that, right? People
Yes.
actually serve other people with no expectation.
Yes.
That was my first introduction to Vishnu Parishad, right?
Yes.
And as I got more and more into that, right, I found that, hey, these people are almost like plain clothed saints.
Yes.
They have no expectation for themselves. They'll go out of their way to help other people.
Yes.
So I said, this is where I belong.
Yes.
And once we decided that as a family, we never turned back.
Right.
So I hope I answered your question, but that is what draws me into this thing, and that is how people actually feel about Vishnu Parishad of America. Not just me, many people.
Yeah, your personal experience is similar. Many other Hindus are also having
Yeah.
the same experience.
Yes.
Our next question, Dr. Asthana ji, is the program HMEC, Hindu Mandir Executive Council, which brings all North American Hindu temples under one umbrella, where temple executives can network, has been a great success. It has been hugely regarded as a program unifying North American temples, a program of VHPA. Can you shed more light on this program? Just a brief highlight.
Sure. So, Hindu Mandir Executive Conference is a program we started in 2006. Okay, so Atlanta was the first meeting that we had. And what was the purpose of starting this Hindu Mandir Executive Conference? So we have over 800 temples in USA.
Yes.
In the United States, big and small, okay? There may be 70 big temples, many medium-sized and small temples, right?
Right.
Private temples.
Yes.
There are close to 150 temples right there in Canada. There are 95 temples right there in Toronto.
Okay.
So it's a huge number. And the thing to realize is that some of these temples are so beautiful, right? And, I mean, really, really gorgeous structure, right? And they are going to live for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay? I'll be gone, but these mandirs will be there. Right? So the question in front of us is, what will happen to these temples, and how can we take all of these temples, right, and harness them into a force, right,
yes,
that will sustain Hindu dharma for
yes,
generations to come, right?
Yes.
And where our children and their children, right, can be engaged, right?
Right.
So the Hindu Mandir Executive Conference is all about three things, okay? It's about networking.
Yes.
It's about Shraddha.
Okay.
And it's about leaving a legacy behind, right? That is something that our children and their children will be proud of.
Yes.
Right? So, but that can only happen when the temples begin to do the kinds of things that temples in Bharat used to do.
Okay.
The whole concept of a temple was that it is a Jana Jagarana Kendra. Right?
Yes.
It is the center from which everything radiates. Right?
Right.
Whether it is worship practices, whether it is arts and culture, music, dance, you name it.
Yes.
Whether it is education,
yes,
of all forms.
Okay.
Or whether it is seva, right? Seva, serving the people. Right?
Yes.
So all of these things originated from our mandirs. So when our temples here become the same kind of centers, right,
yes,
of such things, then I think they will become the magnet, right? They will
yes,
become the force to sustain Hindu dharma, right? And then they will become places attractive, right?
Okay.
So our children will actually be engaged with them, right? So that is what we are trying to achieve through
okay,
Hindu Mandir Executive Conference, by bringing all the executives from the temples and I mean past or present executives, people
right,
who are associated with the temple, and they come together once a year, right? And what do? They share their experiences,
yes,
they share their ideas,
yes,
they actually learn from each other, right?
Yes.
By exchanging, right, ideas, things that work, sharing cases,
yes,
right, that actually worked well,
yes,
and cases that did not work well,
okay,
right, and then learning, sharing, and then sustaining, right, and then they discuss, okay, how do we actually sustain Hindu dharma? Right?
Got it.
So that's what it's about. This is now the 9th year for Hindu Mandir Executive Conference, and the conference is in Orlando, September 19th to 21st.
Okay.
And we are almost done with the whole program, agenda and everything, and it looks great.
Thanks, Dr. Abhaya. It's indeed an insightful program, Hindu Mandir Executive Council, and requirement of the current society.
Mm-hmm.
We also have a program, Support a Child program under VHPA, that provide food, clothing, shelter to needy students in Bharat.
Mm-hmm.
How far that program has gone, and do we see its further expansion? And importantly, many people ask like how it is different from the Ekal Vidyalaya program,
right,
that has been a tremendous success worldwide.
Right. Very good. So, first of all, Ekal Vidyalaya was a program. Of course, it was started in India by Vishwa Parishad, Vanvasi Kalyan Ashram. But when it came to USA, so Vishwa Parishad of America, it took up the Ekal Vidyalaya program. So we started that as a project of Vishwa Parishad of America.
Okay.
And we groomed it and we let it grow for several years.
Okay.
And then around 2003 or something like that, we spun it off.
So sorry to interrupt you, but you said that Ekal Vidyalaya program, that was started by Vishwa Hindu Parishad of America?
Yes.
Like the Ekal Vidyalaya India program or Ekal Vidyalaya USA?
No. So the Ekal Vidyalaya of India, right?
Right.
That started a while back. That
okay.
probably started like 1988 or something.
Okay.
Like that. But when they asked us to help out,
okay.
so we established Ekal Vidyalaya Foundation, in USA.
Okay.
Right, and we worked on Ekal Vidyalaya as a project,
Right.
and then later on we spun it off as
Right.
Ekal Vidyalaya Foundation in USA, right?
Right.
So, but it's doing very well. I mean, it's grown off. Now it's an autonomous body
Right.
that grows. But all the volunteers, most of the volunteers, they are all from Vishwa Parishad of America and related organizations.
Right.
So, Ekal Vidyalaya's primary
Right.
objective is to raise funds here so we can support a single teacher school
Yes.
in India, right? So the single teacher school is like there is one teacher in remote area, Vanavasi areas
Yes.
of Bharat, right, where nobody wants to go.
Yes.
But these Karyakartas of Vishnu Parishad, right, Vanavasi Kalyan Ashram, they are ready to go there, right?
Right.
And serve all the people, right? So they teach maybe 30 to 40 children,
Yes.
right, in each school, and they give them basic education.
Okay.
So it's a school, right,
Yes.
run by a single teacher.
Okay.
Now we provide what $360, $65 here, and they match it dollar for dollar
Okay.
from the local village, right?
Okay.
And that is how that school is run. So it's supporting the school. It's increasing the awareness in the village,
Right.
about other things. I mean,
Yes.
like it becomes very holistic, right?
Got it. Yeah.
So that is Ekal Vidyalaya.
Yes.
Support a Child program is very distinct. Okay, Support a Child program was started by Vishnu Parishad of America in 1984.
Okay.
Okay, and we are supporting over 1,000 children.
Okay.
Right now. So it's almost like we adopt a child, right? A needy child whose parents cannot support
Yes.
the child's education.
Okay.
Sometimes that child has no parent, right? So we provide $250 a year,
Okay.
which is enough to provide for the needs of that child.
Okay.
So boarding, lodging, education, all of that, right? And so when we take up the child, right, we raise that child from whatever age, right,
Yes.
4, 5, whatever, until the child reaches, excuse,
That is all right. Bless you.
reaches high school. Right?
Yes.
So until the child finishes that and goes to college,
Right.
we support that child. Right?
Okay.
So it's not that we just provide funding and you run a school,
Right.
but you actually make a life. Okay, you make a man or you make a woman, right?
Right.
And you provide for their entire education. You adopt that child.
Okay.
So there's a personal connection that you establish with that child. That's what Support a Child program is about.
Okay.
$250 a year,
Okay.
one child.
VHPA as an institution has survived many turmoils in its 45 years, decades of existence, what makes VHPA survival of the fittest organization?
So, let me give you a quote from Martin Luther King. So, Martin Luther King said, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in the moment of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at the time of challenge and controversy." So that is one of the biggest lessons that Hindus have learned, that turbulence is our friend, right? And it's only in the time of turmoil that we have understood the caliber of our people.
Right.
So, as they say, if there is a storm on a mountain, right?
Yes.
More important than the plan are the people that you are with.
Yes.
I mean, the plan can can be whatever, right?
Yes.
Which is the people that count, right? So Vishnu Parishad has been very fortunate in that, right? Because it's all about people.
Yes.
Right? It's all about connecting one person to another person, right?
Yes.
And the people who connect into our family, right, are all of them are those kind of people, right?
Right.
Who are willing to give, who are willing to serve, right? Who've set aside their ego
Right.
for a larger cause. Right?
Yes.
And the cause is to serve our community, right?
Yes.
So that is the blessing, right? So that's how we survive. We've survived everything. I mean, you know, right?
I
mean, everybody beats up on Vishwa Parishad, right?
Yes.
Everybody beats up on Vishwa Parishad of America.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
What makes it so strong, right? Swami Chinmayanand used to say, so let them throw as many bricks as they want at us, right? We will take all of those bricks, right? And we will make a road.
Yes.
And we will take all of those bricks and we will build a bridge to something higher, right?
Yes.
That's what we believe in, right?
Yes.
That's what we do. That's how we survive.
Indeed, a motivational background. It has been observed that, like many Hindu organizations in USA, European countries, VHPA is facing a shortage of young youth in its ranks of governing council chapters and other programs. What immediate steps the leadership plan to take to address this voluntary resource scarcity to implement the programs of VHPA?
Okay. So you might be surprised with my answer, okay? Because you're probably not expecting it.
Okay.
So first of all, it's the quality of the volunteers that matters, not the number.
Okay.
Now the second thing is, what is it that we are doing today? I would say, forget about that. What is it that the founding members of Vishwa Parishad of America did 30 years ago?
Yes.
Right? So in 1979, in 1974, they started Bal Vihars. Okay? In 1979, they started youth camps and family camps.
Yes.
So today, I was like 3 camps around the country, right? I just went, in the last 2 weeks. And all of us in our family, right, we serve at the camp. So today, the camps are being run by the children who were attending the camps 20 years ago.
Yes.
Right? 15 years ago, 10 years ago. At the camp in Washington, D.C., the entire camp was being run by college students who were Bal Vihar students of Shivram.
Okay.
So at the camp in Tolan, Massachusetts, right? All the junior volunteers are previous campers.
Right.
Today, I know for sure, like in Bal Vihars in Massachusetts, parents who are bringing their children to the Bal Vihars were parents who were Bal Vihar students themselves, right? So, what more can we say?
Absolutely.
Will we have shortage of volunteers? I think what the people did early on, right? It's already bearing results, right?
Right.
Those fruits, right?
Yes.
So if we just continue with this tradition, right? And these things are so fundamental, right? Bal Vihars, right? Focusing on the children, youth camps, right?
Yes.
Focusing on youth and family camps. Right?
Yes.
Focusing on youth conferences, right? If we do our job as gardeners, we nurture and nourish these saplings,
yes,
everything will be taken care of.
Yes.
What do you have to worry?
Yeah.
There's going to be no shortage of volunteers, believe me.
Yeah, instead we see a lot of young
they're all coming back. So
youth participation
exactly.
in VHPA.
So what we say, right? In
Yeah.
India, parampara, right? This parampara is continuing.
And that's taking the organization forward
Yeah.
in its mission.
Yeah.
VHPA has 100% governing council EB members, leadership chapters.
Mm-hmm.
All are volunteers.
Yeah.
Nobody is paid, and all of them volunteer for their services.
Mm-hmm.
What social, cultural, dharmic factors drive motivation for such large volunteer work? Something should be motivating to an individual to give volunteer hours for the cause of dharma. What motivates volunteers in VHPA?
I think what motivates the volunteers to work in VHPA is really the vision that Vishwa Parishad of America has. And the vision that we have is to create a vibrant and a dynamic Hindu society, right? That has its roots in the philosophical principles, right, of our sages, right? This whole concept of Vasudeva Kutumbakam, right? So the other thing that attracts to them is that our Vishnu Parishad's work is focused in the USA, right?
Okay.
So we do a lot of seva programs where we support a child or Ekal Vidyalaya or disaster relief or things like that, which where we raise funds and we send it to the needy people
Right.
in India or to people who are suffering from a disaster, right?
Yes.
But other than that, our work is entirely focused in USA, right? And you can see that that work has to do with our children here, has to do with our elders here,
Right.
has to do with our families here, with our temples and institutions over
Right.
there. So that they can see directly, right, where our work is. And our work is regardless of which sampradaya you belong to, it's like for everybody.
That's indeed a unique beauty of VHPA, that any Hindu born or
Right.
practicing Hindu can join irrespective of the cultural, linguistic or sampradaya geographical location.
Right. And see, Vishnu Parishad is not like a local organization.
Yeah.
See, it's a national organization.
Yeah.
So you have chapters all across the country. There are many organizations. There are hundreds, thousands
Yeah.
of Hindu organizations or Indian organizations. But they're all scope is very local. Right?
Yes.
Vishnu Parishad's scope is national.
With
And international.
International with 30, 40
Exactly.
more sisterly
Exactly.
organizations in the whole
around
world.
the world. So
Yeah.
it's a huge organization.
Yes.
And it's had over 75,000 just social service programs
Yes.
around the world. Right? So
That's indeed
it's-
a large magnitude
yeah, I mean,
of social
it's-
service
it's-
program
that itself is inspiring.
backed by volunteers.
Yeah, exactly. So it's inspiring in itself.
Under the umbrella of VHPA, many Hindu organizations were formed, as you said, Ekal Vidyalaya, one example. Can you please name more organizations that were formed under the VHPA umbrella, VHPA mentorship, and then they became autonomous?
Yeah. So Vishnu Parishad has been an incubator, like they say, right? Incubator
Yes.
for ventures, like business.
Correct.
So it has been an incubator for organizations. So Ekal Vidyalaya we talked about. Another one was Hindu University of America.
Yes.
So that whole concept started in Vishnu Parishad, right? And then it was spun off
Yes.
as an idea, and it was spun off as a separate organization, and now it's a functioning organization that grants masters and PhDs programs in
Right.
Hindu studies.
Yes.
Another organization was Hindu Student Council. See, it's all need-based, right?
Yes.
So there was a need. So in the late 80s, right, around 1989, 1990,
Yes.
it was deemed necessary to form an organization of students on college campuses,
Yes.
right? Because by that time there were enough college-going students.
Yes.
In the early 70s there weren't, right?
Yes.
But by 1990, there were enough college-going students, so there was a need for such an organization.
Yes.
So Hindu Student Council was started by Vishnu Parishad,
Right.
and it grew into a huge campus-based organization with over 70 college campuses,
Yes.
where you had chapters for Hindu Student Council.
Yes.
And then in 2003, we said, okay, now the child has grown. It's
Yes.
now almost
Right,
17 years old.
Yes.
Okay, let it go on its own.
Yeah.
So the Hindu Student Council was spun off as a separate organization. Another one, we have many projects like this going on. Okay, so Hindu Mandir Executive Conference, okay,
Yes.
is another such project. What
Yes.
is it doing? It's networking all the mandirs together. Right?
Right.
There is another project called Havan,
Yes.
which is Hindu American Vanaprasthi Network, right?
Yes.
And it is a project that's trying to connect all the Vanaprasthi,
Yes.
all the elderly organizations
Yes.
around the country.
Yes.
And I mean, these ones have just started, right?
Yes.
So like HMEC is in its 9th year, Havan is in its 4th or 5th year. Hindu Women's Network is a
Yes.
similar one, and that's in its 3rd year. The Coalition of Hindu Youth is trying to tie all the mandir-based Bal Vihar organizations and all the youth organizations in a coalition across the country.
Right.
That's in its, I think, 4th year, right? So as these organizations grow, right, they
Yes.
take on a life on their own.
Yes.
We'll see. So I mean, as things come,
Right.
with the change,
Right.
we respond accordingly, right?
Got it. Yeah.
So,
How many US states VHPA has presence, and VHPA scope is, as you said, is limited to US and not the North American continent, other countries. So, any number of states we have presence?
yes. So we have almost 21 chapters,
Okay.
okay, and several smaller units across the country.
Okay.
So our when you look at our membership,
Yes.
okay, I think except for maybe Vermont or Wyoming, okay, I think every other state is represented,
Right.
and we have presence in almost every state.
Okay.
Vishnu Parishad. So that's why we were saying, I mean, it's like a national organization, right? Now, when you look at the Hindu work, right, and there are many organizations in Trinidad,
Yeah.
Guyana, and it'll continue to grow.
Okay.
Continue to grow. So we're beginning to work with all of them. So we'll do like a lot of joint events and so on.
The Hindu Vishwa publication that has been rated as a great good preferred source for containing Hindu Dharma related news. Every quarterly it is being published by Vishwa Hindu Parishad of America. What is the scope and approximate it reaches to number of Hindu families in America? With subscription and then events at the chapter level and giving it up at the festivals likewise
Yeah.
on a yearly basis.
Yeah, so we publish, first of all, I mean, I think the quality of Hindu Vishwa has really improved. It's become very impressive.
Yeah.
And we've gotten a lot of positive feedback on that. And it reaches on, I think we publish it quarterly.
Okay.
So every quarter, it reaches 4,000 to 5,000 people
Okay.
across the country.
Okay.
And some through direct mailing, some like you suggested,
Yes.
right, through distribution.
Distributions
at various
at
events.
events, yeah.
And that is one area, publications is one area where we are really growing.
Okay.
Okay.
Recent victory of Honorable Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has shifted social cultural tectonic plates on more Vedic culture platform. How VHPA as an organization perceives this government change in Bharat? Do you see more participation, enthusiasm and memberships in VHPA as a result of this massive shift and change in Indian government?
Okay. So first of all, we are very glad that happened, that change happened.
Okay.
And we are happy and we are sure that it will bring stability, and more importantly, it will bring reassurance to the Hindus around the world. Okay. It is, our logo is this Vatavriksha.
Yes.
So the central stem,
Yes.
right, is right there.
Right.
Of Sanatana Dharma is right there.
In
It's
Bharat.
got its root in Bharat, right?
Yes.
In the soil of Bharat, right? And we have all these branches, right?
Yes.
Like you were saying earlier, we have like 30 countries.
30 countries VHP has
we
presence.
have
Yeah.
presence, right? And Hindus have presence
In 100 countries,
Yeah, 100
yeah.
countries around the world. So you have all these little branches that have taken root around the world, right?
Right.
So we have taken root in the US. So as in the Vatavriksha, right? You exchange nourishment, right? Across all. But the bulk of the nourishment still continues to come from Bharat.
Okay.
So when something like that happens in Bharat, then we, everybody around, all Hindus around the world,
Right.
are bound to feel happy and reassured that this has happened, right? They gain a bit of confidence, right?
Yes.
Because we lost a lot of that confidence
Yes.
in the past 1,000 years
Yes.
for so many reasons, right?
Yes.
So whatever we can do to help Bharat
Yes.
and to help our brothers and sisters in that Bharat, we will continue to do.
Okay.
And we are very happy that change happened.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Asthana ji. As emphasized by VHPA founder and mentor Dr. Mahesh Mehta, role of VHPA is to integrate society, Hindu society organizations towards a common goal in serving Hindu society.
Mm-hmm.
How far has VHPA able to reach, interlock and integrate Hindu society? Just need some percentage figure. How much percentage of the total Hindu organizations in USA VHPA is able to integrate and bring it to its fold?
So
Just an approximate should be all right.
So like I was talking earlier, right? So let's take the example of Hindu Mandir Executive Conference, right? So we have 800 temples around the country, and we've had 9. This is the 9th HMEC conference, right? So we've traveled all around the country. We went to Atlanta, we went to Washington DC, we went to New York, New Jersey, we went to Michigan, we went to Toronto, Canada last year, we went to California,
right.
We went to Texas, Houston, right? And we are in Orlando, Florida, right? We went to Ohio,
right?
All of these places. Everywhere we go, we connect. Every year we connect 100 to 120 mandirs.
Right.
So you can do the math, right? So just by doing this mandir conference over the period of 9 years, right, we've been able to bring this awareness that hey, I mean, we are not the only temple. There are 800 of us, right, across the country, and we all are doing something good for the community, right? And we all can sing the same song.
Yes.
So that's one example, right? We are doing the same thing with the Vanaprasthi network, right? Not that we will do all the work for the elders, right?
Yes.
That's not the purpose of Vishnu Parishad, right?
Right.
Vishnu Parishad's purpose is to connect organizations, right?
Yes.
To bridge communities, right?
Bridge communities.
To bridge these organizations,
yes.
To build a larger
yes.
molecule, right?
Yes.
Which can serve a larger
got it.
Right?
Yeah.
Community. So that's what we've been doing. We did say many programs, right? Like the Global Vision 2000 that we did in 1993
right.
in Washington DC. That brought maybe over between 10 to 15,000 people, right? From hundreds of organizations across, not just US but across the globe.
Across the globe, yeah.
We did this thing called Dharma Prasar Yatra.
Yeah.
And that was done in 1999.
Yes.
Right? And 2000, twice.
Yes.
Right? So when we did the Dharma Prasar Yatra, we made a whirlwind, tour, right?
Right.
Of 10 major metropolitan areas in the country.
Right.
With say a dozen swamis.
Yes.
They went and gave lectures, and every location we touched like 5,000, 6,000 people.
Yes.
So if you do the math, you connected like thousands of people, right?
Thousands of people.
In just a matter of 10 days, right?
Yes.
And you brought so many organizations together. We did the Dharam Sansad. Many things, many programs like that, right?
Right.
So you've in the program that we continue to do, you bring more and more organizations together, and we bring them together because that is our primary purpose.
Yes.
To bridge
the society,
to connect
organizations,
to connect individuals,
right.
To connect organizations, to
right.
connect families. It's all about connection.
Right.
Ishavasyam idam sarvam.
Got it. Connection with the Hindu adhesive, we can say.
Everybody is connected.
Yes.
Already.
Right.
Okay. What we do is you make it known, right?
Right.
So you can actually experience it on a tangible level.
VHPA had a recent event in Chicago at Swami Vivekananda's anniversary, invited luminaries like Baba Ramdev, Rajiv Malhotra ji, and Dr. Subramaniam Swami. Can you briefly give some key highlight of that event and the participation and enthusiasm and what message it gave to the worldwide Hindu community?
Well, I mean, it was a great event, and it was done in Chicago. So I believe on Friday, they had an event, a ceremony with Baba Ramdev, exactly on the location where Swamiji came and delivered his lecture. So that happened. And then the next day, I mean, they had a very, nice program. I think they had a dinner on the previous day.
Right.
So it was very well received, very well attended. There was some issue
Right.
in that event.
Okay.
And the issue was raised by this Council of World Parliament of Religions or something like that.
Okay.
And they were first part of the organization, and then they saw that there was some political entity, quote unquote, according to them, that was a part of this program. They backed out, and that created like a huge uproar around the country, because they made it into a big media thing, that we were there and we backed out. So look, I mean, this program being organized by Hindus, Vishwa Parishad of America, no good.
Right.
So here, the power of the Hindus, right? So through HMEC, at that time HMEC was going on, within a day we broadcasted this message to all the organizations around the country.
Yes.
In less than 24 hours, over 300 organizations, they sent their messages to this CPWR or whatever it is called.
Yes.
And I mean, the whole thing backfired on them, because the whole Hindu community stood as one.
Yes.
Right? Saying, what are you doing? Right? There was a few board members that resigned, right?
Yes.
From CPWR, say, we have nothing to do with you.
Yes.
I mean, if you are going to act like this, we don't want anything to do with you.
Yes.
So that was a great example that showed how the Hindu community can come together, right? Even, I mean, in America.
Yes.
And it was like a great demonstration of the strength of Vishnu Parishad of America and HMEC.
Right. There are a couple of organizations in USA with leftist and Islamist ideology who published sometimes defamatory content on VHPA, allied organization, some XYZ reports, and write, something non-standard stuff. As the leadership, how is the VHPA looking into such ideological or defamatory attacks from these organizations, and what is the strategy to counter them? Or
so, first of all, we have a very strong PR and media team, department, who are very vigilant and very savvy. So we do not react to everything. Okay, we do not have to react to everything. Right?
yes,
so we evaluate each such report or each such attack, if you want to call it, on its merit. Right? And like I was saying earlier, people can throw bricks, and we are so used to bricks being thrown at us that we don't have to. Right?
Yeah.
Like there are lots of cats and dogs, right, that keep barking.
Yes.
Right? But I mean, the lion keeps walking,
Yeah.
and the elephant keeps walking,
Yes.
right? And people can keep throwing bricks,
Yeah.
and we'll just use those bricks to build a bridge, right? So we don't have to react to everything, right?
Okay.
So what we do is we evaluate every such attack or a report on its merit, and only if it deserves to be addressed, we respond appropriately.
Okay.
Right? Very cautiously, dignified response. Okay.
Okay.
You never see Vishwa Hindu Parishad of America
Yes.
reacting to anything. Okay? You
Right.
will see it's very measured, very appropriate. Always.
Okay.
Always. I'm only speaking for Vishwa Hindu Parishad of America.
Got it, yeah. Here we are talking about VHPA. In terms of outreach to the US government, US congressmen, US senators, in the 45 years of service for Hindu community, in your idea, how many US percentage of US political system is aware of VHPA as an organization serving Hindu community since past 45 years? US senators, US congressmen, governors across the nation.
Okay. So I can give you specifics, but there are many programs that we do, right? Where, for example, in Massachusetts itself, we've been doing Hindu Heritage Day for the last 18 years, and we every year, I think for the last 14 years, okay, it's been declared as a Hindu Heritage Day by the governor of Massachusetts. I think many other states.
Yeah, we do see the certification from
Yeah.
Massachusetts.
So the mayor of the town of
Yeah.
Marlborough, for example, or governor, they declare it. And many other states around the country, I mean, they do the same thing. So getting acknowledgement or a response from the congressman, senator, or the governor,
Yes.
that's okay, that's fine, right? But that's not what Vishwa Hindu Parishad is about.
Right.
Our job in this country is at the ground level.
Right.
Our work is at the ground level. Our work is with our children, with our family, with our elders,
Yes.
with our community. So you have to do real work, okay?
Right.
On the road.
Right.
That's what Vishwa Hindu Parishad does.
Yes.
Okay? People to people, face
Okay.
to face. Not on the internet,
Yes.
okay? Not by writing letters to congressmen and senators.
Yes.
Working face to face, okay? Holding hands,
Right.
or whether it is the child or the elder,
Yeah.
okay? And doing that. So that is our work at the ground level. Now, if people recognize it and acknowledge it, great.
Right.
But that work has to be done
Yes.
for the sake of our future, for the sake of our dharma. That is our dharma.
Yes.
So we have to do that. So that is more important to us, right?
Yes.
Our primary work, keeping the Hindus in America as Hindus.
Yes.
All right?
I've got it. Yeah.
Okay.
As president of VHPA, what challenges in terms of operation, volunteer management, and event coordination you encounter? List some examples on a high level.
Yeah. So one of the nice things about the VHP of America is that when it was founded and when the constitution of this organization was written, I think the people did a wonderful job of how they structured it.
Right.
So it's structured as chapters, it has a governing board
Yes.
which cuts across, and the chapter governance is independent of the governing council,
Right.
which is like a council of people from
Right.
across the country.
Right.
Each chapter has its own executive board.
Right.
Okay? And then the governing council is what governs the policies and the programs of Vishwa Hindu Parishad of America.
Right.
The governing council selects the few members
Yes.
who will form the executive board.
Right.
Right? There is a president and a secretary and a treasurer, but it's the governing council
Yes.
that really determines the programs and the activities.
Right.
So that structure, we have probably made only 1 or 2 amendments in the 40 years that we.
Okay.
So it's so stable, right? So we've had I would say virtually no issues, okay?
Yes.
In terms of organization or operational thing, because most of it is based on volunteers' enthusiasm and
Right.
passion, right, and creativity
Right.
to do things.
Right.
So, and that's done at the chapter level. So it's the chapters of Vishnu Parishad that make it up, and then the governing council and the executive board, they do some of these national level programs
Right.
and create some of these things, but bulk of it is getting done at
At the chapter level.
Yeah.
VHPA in its press release congratulated Honorable Indian Prime Minister
Yeah.
Narendra Modi on his victory in Indian election. From VHPA perspective, whose victory was that?
Very, very good question. Okay, from Vishnu Parishad of America's perspective, answer is very simple. It was the victory of the people. Right? It was the victory of the people who worked on the ground level. Right? The person in every village, in every booth, okay, district, who went and spoke and convinced the people at that level to come and vote. It's a victory for that person, right? It's the victory for the person who managed the booths.
Right.
It's a victory for the person who created the buzz.
Yes.
Whether it's on the social media, whether it is through word of mouth, or
Right.
whatever, right? I mean, many people in USA, helped in that, right?
Yes.
You helped in that. So there are a lot of people, okay, who contributed to that,
Right.
and every one of them, I think, is worthy of this credit, right?
Right.
If credit has to be given, right? And I mean, to me and to VHPA of America, this was a great example of how one cause, and I'm not going to name that
Right.
cause, but one cause connected the people, right, at all levels.
Yes.
So it was like amazing. I mean, what happened there, right?
Yes.
But it started from the bottom. It
Yes.
started from the bottom. The sadhus, the sannyasis, the swamis, everybody participated in this one thing, right? It was almost like one song. Everybody was singing one song.
Yes.
And when that happens, you can see, resonance. You just catch it up.
The undercurrents were very strong this time, yeah. Next question is, many group-based Hindu organizations we have in USA and tens of thousands of membership. So do we have a group-based organization joining and participating in VHPA programs? Do you see?
Okay. Good. So, one of the reasons that I love Vishnu Parishad of America is that this is the only organization that says that all temples are my temples.
Yes.
Right? That all swamis are my swamis. We don't have a swami, okay?
Right.
Because every swami is my swami.
Yeah.
Pramukh Swami is my swami.
Yeah.
Dayanand Saraswati is my swami, right? Swami Chinmayanand is my founder, okay? He is
Yes.
my swami, right? Which swami is not my swami? All swamis are my swami,
Yeah.
right? All gurus are my gurus, right? I mean, Gurudev, Shri Shri Ravi Shankar, he is my guru,
Yes.
right? Baba Ramadev, he is my guru.
Yes.
Why should he not be, right?
Yes.
All of them have something good to say, right? This organization is the only organization that says, I am a Sikh.
Yes.
I am a Sikh. I mean, I am a Baudh, right?
Right.
I am a Jain, right? I am a Shaiva.
Yeah.
I am a Vaishnava.
Yeah.
I am a Smarata.
Yeah.
I am a Shakta.
Shakta.
This is the only organization that says that.
Yes.
So, we don't have all these little divisions because all of us,
Yes.
we are Hindus, right?
Yes.
And remember, I said Hindu as a civilizational term, right?
Civilization term, yeah.
So this is the beauty of Vishnu Parishad of America, right? We don't have to build a temple,
Right.
Because all temples are my temple.
Right.
This temple is not my temple.
Yes.
All organizations, anybody who's working for the Hindu cause
Yes.
is my brother.
Yes.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's take a 1 minute break.
Oh.
Yeah.
थक गए बहुत बात होती है
So you ready?
Yeah.
So VHPA VHPA has CHAI, Coalition of Hindu Youth program. Can you please give brief update on the Coalition of Hindu Youth, the theme and the background of that program?
Yeah, very interesting. So, you remember we were talking about incubation, right?
Yes.
So how one thing leads to another thing?
Right.
So we started this Hindu Mandir Executive Conference. And there's so many things that came out of Hindu Mandir Executive Conference.
Right.
Over the 9 years, I don't think we've seen anything yet. Okay, so in the third year,
yes,
okay, people began to realize, because HMEC is all about youth, right?
Yes.
All about engaging our youth, right?
Yes.
So they can sustain the dharma.
Right.
So in the third year, we started realizing, and the youth, there were like maybe 15, 20 youth that were attending HMEC. So they said, hey, we need to get together. We used to have a youth trial.
Right.
So they discussed, they said, every temple more or less has some sort of a Bal Vihar program.
Right.
And everybody is doing their own thing.
Yes.
Right? And there is no common coordination.
Right.
How about if we start an organization,
yes,
that pulls together all the Bal Vihars,
yes,
in the temples,
right,
under one network,
right.
So they called it Bal Vihar network.
Yes.
Right? So then they got together and then said, but there are other organizations that are also doing Bal Vihars, such as Chinmaya, such as Sai Bal Vikas, such as BAPS and so on.
Right.
So how about if we build a larger network, a larger framework,
right,
and they called it Coalition of Hindu Youth.
Yes.
So what they are trying to do is saying, Chinmaya Bal Vihar is really good, BAPS Bal Vihar is really good.
Right.
All of these, all of us, let's come together.
Yes.
As one group, right? And we can do bigger and better things.
Right.
We can share from each other, we can learn from each other, because all of us are doing this wonderful job of educating our children.
Right.
Giving them sanskar, imparting them sanskar. So that's how it got formed. So it was not trying to create something new.
Right.
It was only trying to bridge all the youth programs across the country together, right? Whether they are being done at temples, whether they are being done outside of temples.
Outside of the temples.
And that's the whole purpose of Coalition of Hindu Youth.
Yes.
To continue that process. And in that process, you'll learn many things, right? And you'll collectively do many things together, right? So one of the things that we are doing right now is working on a coordinated program, right? For the Bal Vihar curriculum.
Right.
So can we come up with a common framework, right? Not that every curriculum is going to be the same.
Right.
But through sharing, can we come up with a common curriculum?
Right.
So everybody can pick and choose.
And
still be able to satisfy
right?
the core curriculums that they are interested in giving to their children.
Right.
So that's what the child group is doing, and I think that's the only way to go.
Absolutely.
Because we have so much of diversity,
right,
that it's better to bridge through this kind of a coalition. So everybody can do their own thing, and yet we learn and share from each other.
Right.
Perfect.
It's a very interesting program indeed. And
I think that is the future.
Yeah. Youth is the future.
Things like chai, they are the future.
VHPA has always some sort of event, festivals, and this Hindu Heritage Day, Hindu Awareness Yatra, and the representation in the US media, local, regional, national, is not that much. It doesn't get published frequently. So, how do you suggest to expand the media base of VHPA, and the more news about VHPA goes into the masses? So
we first of all we have to understand, right, that there are two things.
Right.
One is to keep Hindus in America as Hindus.
Right.
That is the hard ground level work.
Yes.
And as we talked about, right, you have to actually work in Bal Vihars. You have to actually work in the camps, right? You have to work in the soup kitchens and on the road
Right.
and so on, right? It's hard work, and it's work that requires a lot of commitment.
Right.
Week after week after week after week. Talk to the Bal Vihar children. I mean, and the Bal Vihar teachers, right?
Yeah.
Like 40 weeks a year, they work
Yeah.
every week. No vacation. They cannot go anywhere. No, I'm kidding. But there's a lot of commitment required, right? So that's ground level work, right? Keeping Hindus as Hindus. The second thing is to speak for Hindus, right?
Yes.
And to advocate for Hindus, right?
Yes.
So there is this advocacy angle, right?
Right.
So we have this angle, right, in Vishwa Hindu Parishad called Prachar, right?
Right.
No? Where you raise the awareness,
Right.
and you build relationship
Right.
with the policymakers.
Right.
But advocacy is a little different, right? So there are many other organizations that are doing advocacy.
Right.
So our approach is that we do not have to do everything, right?
Right.
I mean, we've got a very well defined role
Right.
in our community,
Right.
and we will fulfill that role the very best way. Now, if there are other organizations that can take up the role of advocating,
Right.
right, and making this thing visible
Right.
to the media,
Right.
and making it visible to the policymakers, then more power to them.
Yeah.
Wonderful, right? So it's sort of like a yin yang, right? It's like a complementary relationship.
Yes.
So you can advocate for Hindus
Yes.
if there are Hindus,
Yes.
right? If there are no Hindus left, who are you going to advocate for?
Absolutely.
I'm asking you a simple question, Rahul.
Yes.
Who will you advocate for? So what is important, chicken or the egg, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's more important that we have Hindus,
Yes.
no? And to have the Hindus remain as Hindus.
I got it.
And then of course, I mean, many of them will automatically advocate for Hindus. right?
Advocate for Hindus.
But
yeah.
but the primary thing is to keep them.
More of a groundwork, grassroots work.
Yeah.
That is the core of VHPA.
So if you keep 100 Hindus, out of 100 Hindus you keep 90 Hindus as Hindus, right?
Yes.
At least you will have 5 Hindus who will advocate for
Who
it.
will advocate
right?
the good work
But
among the
if-
common masses?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but if all the 100 Hindus start advocating,
Right.
you will have no Hindu left.
Got it. Yeah. That's a
Very
very valid point.
That's what we do. So
Alongside the good VHPA Vishwa Hindu Vishwa we have,
Yeah.
what are the other publications under VHPA for the Hindu society in America?
yeah, so one thing, going back to your previous question.
Right.
So say World Hindu News, for example,
Right.
which is what you're doing. It's a good example
Right.
of a media gap, okay,
Right.
that you fill, right? So you've provided this forum, so now you broadcast it around
Right.
the world, right?
Yes.
And across USA,
Yes.
which is good. So more such media things. I mean, if it happens, that's wonderful, right?
Right.
And it's all in some sense, I mean, inspired by people who've come out of
Yes.
VHPA, right?
Yes.
Like many organizations in this country. In fact, Vishwa Hindu Parishad was the first organization, right?
Right.
So all the other organizations are like
Yeah.
spin-offs.
Right. They've
From
been learning the organization skills,
Yeah,
entity
and they
skills.
are like
yeah.
spin-offs, right? So
Yeah.
the Vishwa Hindu Parishad Karyakartas are in
A lot of
yeah,
more organization.
Right.
You get
that
the
you'll
organization
find.
skills.
Now, so going back to the
Right.
publications, so for example, we wrote this book called the Antyeshti Sanskar,
Okay.
because, and that came out of HMEC,
Okay.
a publication, because people said that the priests, either they are not available or they are not sometimes willing to perform because of certain restrictions. Okay?
Right.
I mean, not that they don't want to perform, but because of their restrictions, right? Training and
Restrictions,
restrictions, they cannot do that.
Right.
So people, when somebody dies, right, it's unannounced.
Yes.
Right? So people are stuck, right?
Right.
So we wrote a book, Do It Yourself,
Yeah.
Antyeshti Sanskar, and it's become very popular. Right?
Okay.
And people use it. It's on the web. And so that's a publication that came out of HMEC, published by Vishwa
Right.
Parishad of America. There were many Sanskar books,
Right.
okay, that we are writing. So Vivaha Sanskar is another one of those things, and that's becoming very, very popular. A very simple book which describes all the mantras, basic mantras that are steps that are there in Vars and Sakar in a very nice form. Anybody can read it and perform the wedding based on that. And the children love it because they can read it and understand what is involved in the ceremony. We published another book called the prayer book, just prayer book for hospitals, right? For people who are caregivers in the hospital. And that prayer book, it's a 40-page book.
Yeah.
But for patients, Hindu patients who are in the hospital, today there is no prayer book.
Yes.
So that fills a gap.
Hindu chaplaincy program.
Yeah. So that would be something useful to doctors, to chaplains. So there are chaplains. I mean, we started the Hindu chaplaincy program 3 years ago, and it's coming along. And pretty soon you'll see Hindu chaplains. But the prayer book provides this fills this gap, right? That we've always had. So it may be a Catholic chaplain, it may be a Jewish chaplain, but it's a Hindu patient. What do they do?
Yeah.
What do they do, right? So this prayer book is something that they can use to serve that Hindu patient. So that's another example. I mean, we've just coming out with another revision of the prayer book, my prayers, right, for the Bal Vihar.
Right.
So it's going to be out this year. There is a small book we published for the Bal Vihar, Essentials of Hindu Dharma.
Right.
There is this publication called Hindu Dharma for Teachers, which is a very nice book for senior Bal Vihar students that we use. Right. So many other such things are coming, right? And we are working on a whole set of Bal Vihar manuals, right? That'll come out in a few years.
Okay.
So this publication, as I was mentioning, is an area that we really see a lot of growth in, and it's going to happen.
And where can the general public get these publications from?
So many of them, most of them are available through our website.
Okay, it is www.vhpa-america.org.
Yeah, www. Right, VHPA-america.org.
Yeah. Where do you see VHPA after 5 years, 10 years, 20, 50 years in horizon? Like in terms of scope, terms of programs in America?
So it's a good question, okay? So in terms of scope, in terms of programs in America. So one of the things that we've been doing in the past 3 years, I would say, is trying to, you know, the warp and the weft, right? Tana bana, like when you have a piece of clothing, right?
Yeah.
You have strands running this way and strands leaving them running this way, right? So you make a fabric, right?
Yeah.
And you
tie
all those things this way and that way, so it becomes really strong, right? So Vishwa Parishad, being an organization whose primary function is to connect all the Hindus, right? To keep all the Hindus, we feel that that's what you got to do.
Right.
So in the next several years, we make this fabric so strong, right? Through networks of various sorts, right? Like the Hindu Women's Network, like the Coalition of Hindu Youth, right? Like the Hindu American Vanaprasthi Network, right? Like the Hindu Mandir Executive Conference, bridging all the mandirs, right?
Yes.
So once you've done that, right, like the Seva Network, right? There's so many Seva organizations. You pull them together into a network, right? So you've connected all segments of your society, right? In a very strong fabric, right? You've bridged all the communities, because we are a community-based organization.
Yes.
I mean, we are a community-based civilization.
Yes.
Hindus, right?
Yes.
So Vishwa Parishad is the one that actually accepts that, right?
Right.
So they don't get over anxious. Okay?
Over anxious.
Oh, he's a Gujarati, he's a Marathi, he's a Punjabi. It's okay, Baba.
Right.
It's okay.
Right.
Right? So, if you are a Gujarati, it's fine. What's the problem?
Yeah.
If you are Marathi, it's fine. It's okay.
Yes.
I mean, there is a lot that goes with that. I mean, it's part of your history. It's part of your identity.
Yeah.
It's great. But you're a Hindu.
Yes.
See, as long as we remember that one thing, everything is so simple.
Yes.
So simple. And that's what you're doing. So you want to bridge every community together.
Right.
Into a strong, fabric.
Right.
And so nobody can shake it.
Right.
And that is the legacy we want to leave behind for our children.
Yes.
A solid foundation, so then they can continue to build a massive edifice on top of that, right?
Right.
So that's our vision. I mean, our vision is to actually grow the work of Vishnu Parishad of America.
Right.
Okay, so we can reach out to Central America.
Right.
We can reach out to South America.
Latin America.
There are so many. I mean, you will be surprised how many Hindu-minded, spiritual, people are there in South America.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yes.
It's just us. Okay. If we have the time and the resources, we'll reach out to them.
Right.
So you're asking in the next 10, 15, 20 years, you will see.
Yeah.
Then you will see presence of VHP of America. It won't be VHP of America. It will be VHP of Mexico.
Mexico,
but,
VHP of
we will help.
Cuba, VHP of Dominica Republic. We have VHP of Trinidad already.
We'll help that process.
Yeah.
Facilitate that process.
Yeah, I interviewed one professor from Mexico. He said there's a lot of similarities between the Mexican ancient culture and Hindu culture.
Right.
So that makes more. There's a prospect there.
Yeah.
Individual organizations who inspired you for Hindu Dharma, service for Hindu Dharma, whom you would like to appreciate and thanks, who inspired you, people, organizations, authors, any you would like to name?
So Rahul, that's a tough question. But in many ways it's a very simple question for me. So who inspired me? My mother, my father.
And what was the
And then it was my mother primarily and my father, who inspired me, who gave me all these values, that brought me to VHPA of America. What inspired me the most are the workers, quote unquote karyakartas,
right.
of Vishnu Parishad of America. People who actually I saw working and I got inspired. Like in the camp,
Right.
Kiran Parekh.
Yeah.
So he comes to the camp. He's been coming to the camp for the last 25 years.
Right.
And do you know what he does? He cleans the toilets and the bathrooms. That's what he does.
Right.
And he enjoys it. And he's not asking for anything.
Right.
And he comes year after year and he does that, right? Yogesh Nayak.
Yeah.
I think you know him, right?
Yeah,
From Texas, right?
Yogesh, I worked with Yogesh.
So Yogesh Bhai, I met him when I went to the first camp. I've never seen a person,
Yes.
who does thing without even talking about it.
Yes.
Silently, right? And believe me, when Yogesh Bhai is at the camp, I think 50% of the camp is running because of his presence.
Yes.
This year, Massachusetts President Kaushik Patel,
Yes.
his children have graduated from the camp, right? But both his wife Charuban Patel is a doctor.
Yes.
Kaushik Bhai, right? Both of them went to the camp in Toland.
Yes.
Spent the whole week over there.
Yes.
And what was Kaushik Bhai doing? Some of the people who came back from the camp told me. So I asked him, Kaushik Bhai was there, what was he doing? Papa, if Kaushik Patel was not there, the camp would have been stinking.
Yes.
Because all he did was clean the toilets and the bathroom.
Right.
So Kaushik Bhai is the president of the Vishwa Parishad in Massachusetts chapter, right? So that is what inspires me.
Indeed, very motivational and paradigm inspiration stories we have in VHPA. It's very appreciative. People working volunteer and doing all sort of work for camp and for the mission.
Right, right.
What's your message to American Hindus as president of VHPA? What is your message to the Hindu community of America?
Okay. So sometimes I talk about a very simple acronym.
Right.
So the acronym is GRASS, grass.
Right.
Okay. So what I say is, we as Hindus, right? We are a culture of gratitude. We are a culture of respect. We are a culture of acceptance. We are a culture of self-discipline. And we are a culture of service or seva. Right?
Yes.
We are grateful for everything.
Right.
Right? We are grateful for the little creatures. We are grateful for Mother Nature. We are
Yes.
grateful to Surya Bhagwan. We
Yes.
are grateful to this entire
Right.
universe. Right? And we are a culture for respect. We respect everybody. Right? We respect everything.
Right.
Right? From the dust, right? From the ground, right?
Yes.
That we get up every morning.
Yes.
Samudra vasne devi parvatastana mandale Vishnu patni namastubhyam padasparsham shamasva me.
Right.
Mother Earth, before I step on you, please forgive me.
Yes.
We respect everything. That's what we teach our children.
Yes.
We accept everything, right? We accept the fact that everybody is unique, right?
Yes.
We don't have this artificial thing in our head
Yes.
that everybody is equal. No,
Yes.
everybody is not equal.
Yes.
Baba, that's where the Rishi started.
Right.
No? The Rishi started that everybody is not equal, everything is unique.
Unique. Yep.
First thing you have to do is to stop denying that,
Right.
accept it.
Accept it.
So we accept everybody just the way they are. We
Right.
accept everything just the way it is, right?
Right.
Only then can you go further, right?
Yes.
So we are a culture of acceptance. We've always accepted everybody.
Right.
Where throughout our history,
Yes.
whoever came to our land and our shores, we accepted them as they were, right?
Yes.
Till today,
Yes.
right? The Syrian Christians live. Right?
Yes.
The Jewish people live.
Right.
The Parsis, Zoroastrians who came,
Right.
They live
Yes.
just they were, right? We've not tried to impose ourselves on them. Right?
Yes.
We accept everybody.
Yes.
We are a culture, and this is the most important thing, right?
Yes.
If you're asking for a message, we are a culture of self-discipline,
Yes.
right? Self-control, right?
Yes.
Dhamma,
Dhamma.
Indriya, Nigraha.
Right.
Right? So, if I had to give one lesson,
Right.
one learning to my child,
Right.
I would say self-discipline.
Yes.
That is what our rishis taught us. Right? Tapas, tyag, right?
Right.
Self-control.
Yes.
Dhamma, right? So, self-discipline, and the last one is service.
Service. Yeah.
Because the fifth thing is seva.
Right.
And seva is the essence of our Hindu dharma, right?
Right.
Hindu tradition. That you want to actually live for others.
Right.
What's the point of living just for yourself?
Yes.
So when you begin to feel for your neighbor,
Yes.
right? When you begin to feel for the rest of the village,
Yes.
right? Then you are basically serving or striving to serve others.
Yes.
And that is what Hindutva is really all about.
Right.
Feeling for the other person.
Yes. The characteristic, like we say, Vyakti, like a characteristic of a culture to feel about your brothers and sisters in the society.
Exactly.
And help them and understand their requirement and come out.
Exactly. So see, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, right?
Right.
Ishavasyamidam sarvam.
Yes.
Everybody is interconnected, right?
Right.
See, but that interconnectedness has to show itself, right? It has
Yes.
to express itself.
Yes.
And when it expresses itself
Yes.
as compassion,
Yes.
as a feeling for the other person,
Yes.
not just for yourself, that is seva, right?
Right.
And when you do something
Right.
with that feeling, right?
Yes.
That this other person, this other creature is a part of me,
Yes.
right? Not as charity,
Yes.
but as a real feeling of
Yes.
connectedness, right?
Right.
Compassion. Then that is what the essence of Hindutva is, right?
Yes.
And that is the basis for the Hindu civilization, the Hindu Sanskriti.
Right.
Hindutva has nothing to do with with anything else.
It's not a political ideology.
Exactly.
It's a cultural philosophy.
It's a cultural
Yeah.
principle. An underpinning, right?
Yes.
Of Hindu tradition, Hindu civilization.
Right.
So that is the last part, right?
Yes.
Seva. So when we do that, right?
Right.
I mean, the whole idea is to leave everything a little better
Right.
than we found it, right?
Yes.
So leave this world a little
Yes.
better than we found it. We begin to care for the next person.
Yes.
When we care for the next person, we begin to feel valuable
Yes.
to others, right? And we become a part of the community.
Right.
So that is my final thing, right? So that's the acronym GRASP,
Right.
which is all about gratitude, respect, acceptance, self-discipline, and seva.
Right.
So we came to this land, right? We adopted this land,
Right.
And we brought into this land our value system.
Yes.
We brought into this land our family structure.
Yes.
When I'm talking about land, I mean America. Right?
Yes.
We brought into this land of America
Yes.
our spiritual lifestyle. Right?
Yes.
And these are the only treasures that our rishis have given us.
Yes.
Right? And we live by these treasures.
Right.
And we want to share these treasures
Right.
with the rest of the community
Yes.
in America, right? And that way we will leave this land
Yes.
better than what we found it.
Right.
And that's what we want to do.
Yep.
And that's what the Hindus in America want to do.
Yes.
So with that, I think
Of course, yeah. That was a very insightful interview indeed, and a lot of programs we saw. It was a privilege to have Dr. Abhaya Asthana here at World Hindu Talk Show. We learned about VHPA mission, goal, objectives, scope, operations, different programs we have in VHPA serving the Hindu community, whether it is HMEC, youth, women, senior citizens, and likewise. And thank you so much, Dr. Abhaya Asthana ji, for being at World Hindu News and giving your valuable time for our audience and our news portal. I thank you on behalf of World Hindu News and wish the program and the organization the best of the wishes for future. And indeed, it was a great learning experience altogether.
So Rahul, I really appreciate this opportunity and thank you so much.
Namaste.
And it was indeed a pleasure to have this conversation with you, and I hope I was able to provide you some insights into working of the Parishad of America,
Yep.
and I was able to answer to your satisfaction the questions you had.
Of course, I'm more than satisfied by your answers, and very eloquently you answered it, and whatever the expectation was for the interview.
Good. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Namaste.
Namaste.